Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review, showing you a mini tutorial and giving you some swatches of the brand new Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows. And why they are called Snap Shadows, and I don't know why I'm doing that because that is what they're actually called, is because they are very tiny eyeshadow palettes which if you buy more than one you can attach them together like this. This is two of them. You attach them by the back and you click them down so that they are secure, which means you've then got two shadows or two eyeshadow palettes which are, look at me struggling, which are then attached back to back. So there's one and then there's another one. It's to make it travel friendly so that you can basically mix and match your palettes, keep them together, nice and simple. Handbag, you can put them in your handbag if you want, that sort of thing. So these were released very recently. Fenty has come out with eyeshadow palettes in the past. I think there was the Moroccan Spice one and then the Galaxy one. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't like either of them. I swatched all of them in store. Even when they went on sale, I still didn't buy them. I just did not find the quality to be that good. I know that a lot of people love Fenty Beauty just because it's created by Rihanna. But if you put Rihanna to the side and just focus on the products themselves, I would say that 50% of Fenty Beauty products aren't even that great. I think they're just very overly hyped because of the fact that whose name is on the packaging. Now I've got 4 of them to show you all together. Altogether there are 8 eyeshadow palettes. If you choose to buy, you can pick and choose between them. I've got number 1, this one is 1, I've got 5, 4 and 8. So they've all been kind of labelled with the standard Fenty graffiti with the numberings on the front. Comes in a standard cardboard box like all Fenty products, which is great because it's environmentally friendly. I would personally say that I actually find the packaging quite cheap. It's very light, but then it's got a very cheapy look about it. In the UK, Fenty is sold in 2 places. It's sold at Harvey Nichols, which is an upmarket department store, and then it's also sold in Boots, which is where I actually got mine from, which is one of the biggest drugstores in the UK. Now in Boots, as I'm filming this today, is the 1st of January. Happy New Year and happy birthday to my bestie. I bought them when they were on offer. So what Boots and Harvey Nichols were doing is they cost £21 each, but if you buy 2 of them, you can get them for £38 rather than having to pay £42. So you get £4 off. So altogether I got £8 off, and it does make me a little bit suspicious as to why you would have a discount on a brand new product. Suspicious. Yeah, mostly when it's a new product, it don't get discounted for a long time. But personally, I wanted to try and see what these were like. I did swatch a couple of them in store, but obviously not every single shade. I have used them all on my eyes, and now I'm going to give you my thoughts. Firstly, £21. Altogether, you do get 6 shades, and I'm going to compare it to Huda Beauty's Mini Obsessions palettes purely because what I've noticed is from these 8 different palettes, there's a lot of similarity with the Huda Beauty ones. Couple of pounds more, you're getting 9 eyeshadows, and I've given these all a 10 out of 10. They're absolutely excellent. Would I give these a 10 out of 10 though? No. Now, unfortunately, I'm just not that enamored by these. I think they're okay, but I don't think they're a must-have. If anybody was to ask me, should I buy Huda Beauty's Obsessions ones or the Fenty Snap Shadows, I would say go for the Huda Beauty ones. You get 9 in there and not a single shadow is bad. Now, with the Fenty ones, I would say some of the eyeshadows are performing better and some are not. When you've only got 6 shades to play with as it is, you kind of need them all to work quite well. Now, in terms of the way that the mattes perform, some of the lighter matte shades, for example, this is number 5, the Peach palette. The matte shades are quite soft, a little bit buttery, and they give a fairly good colour payoff. Now, these aren't very dark shades, so it's not that difficult to go wrong. However, with some of the deeper shades, for example, I use this shade here called Spice Strip, which is right in the middle. Patchy, very difficult to blend. Now, I know shades which have got a hint of purple in it, and this is like a browny purple shade. They can be a little bit patchy and difficult to blend. However, I even found that with this palette, which is the number 1 True Neutrals palette, and the shade called, this one in the corner called Affogato, very difficult to blend again. And what I find is because they don't kick up that much powder, which they don't, that actually affects the way that the product performs. I find that eyeshadows which kick up a little bit of powder, they actually blend a lot more easily because there's more product on the brush, whereas with these ones I didn't even have to tap them off. Not enough of the product actually comes out on the brush. And another thing that I've noticed is that with the metallic shades in particular, for example, I bought this one which is called the Pastel Frost palette. I'm using the purple shade which is called Lady Pimp on my lid. I had to apply it again and again and again and again, and even still from a distance, if anything, you cannot tell it's a metallic shade because it just doesn't have that metallic shine that you get with a lot of metallic shades. Now, for example, the shade called Dirty Denim, which is this one here. Yes, this one is a lot more shimmery. You can actually tell by the pan. And even the shade called Laid Up, which is what I'm wearing on my tear duct, performs a little bit better than some of the other ones. So with these palettes, they're very kind of hit and miss. Some of the shades in the palettes are great. Some of them are not so great. Unfortunately, I feel that the quality of these is very similar to the other palettes, which is why I didn't buy them. And I stupidly thought that if she's releasing new shades, new shadows, hopefully there'll be better quality textures and that sort of thing, but it just hasn't happened with this. So overall, out of all the palettes that I've got, I would probably give the Fenty Snap Shadows a 7 out of 10. £21 is not cheap for 6 eyeshadows. So I'm putting it out there in that for £21, all your eyeshadows need to be pretty much excellent. I've also noticed that with these shimmery shades, the metallic shades, they perform a lot better when you've applied them with your finger than with a brush. Now that's the case with a lot of some of Huda's eyeshadows too, to be honest. But to be fair, whether I use a brush or I don't use a brush, I still get very intense colour payoff. I just don't find that with this. I also find that with the matte shades, because they're quite dusty and they just don't pick up enough powder, when I'm blending them out, they blend out completely into nothingness. And I'm just like, well, I've applied loads of shadow. Where is the colour? Like, it's blended out into the other shades. Does that make sense? You know, you've come across shades like that in the past, or certain eyeshadow palettes like that in the past where the quality just does not cut it. And I mean, £21 Fenty, come on man, seriously. Like, why am I blending it out and then it's blended into my normal eye colour anyway? I can't see anything. So disappointed is an understatement. Considering that also that Fenty is obviously a brand created by a black woman, a lot of these shades will not show up on deep skin tones. Now, there will be people that may not agree with me on this, but you have to think about it in terms of you're going to have to completely blank out your natural eye colour, make it completely white by using some sort of primer or eyeshadow base or concealer, and only then will these shades show up on your skin. I've got medium skin tone. I'm wearing Fenty's hydrating foundation in the shade 290. I'm right in the middle of the colour spectrum. Now with Fenty Beauty, they go up to the deepest of the deep in terms of skin tones. Half of these eyeshadows will not work. So how does that make sense? It is a brand which has been created specifically catering towards deeper skin toned women, but obviously all skin tones are included. However, the majority of these shades will not show up on deep skin. I'm sorry, how is that pale pink going to show up on deep skin? Ashy, right? These colours here, that white shade barely shows up on my skin tone. Even this brown shade here, if you've got very, very, very deep skin, it will barely show up. However, this kind of palette would definitely show up on all skin tones because they are shimmery shades, they are not matte shades, so obviously the light will bounce off of them and the reflection will show up a lot better. So if I just ignore this one here and we talk about the rest of them, I do like the fact, because I don't want this to come across as completely negative, because I know a lot of you will or may potentially be interested in buying them, but that is the whole purpose of me having this channel, to review things for you guys, to let you know whether or not I personally think they're worth you going out and spending that money. Now, I like the fact that each palette has got 3 matte shades, 3 metallic shades. That's great. It makes it nice and even, makes it nice and equal. That way you don't have to use more or less of one or another. I can't stand eyeshadow palettes that have got like 1 matte and 15 metallic shades. What's the point? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swatch them against my medium toned skin, let you know what my thoughts are about each individual palette. 7 out of 10 is blanket kind of going to be for all of them in all fairness, but I'm just going to show you individually what I think each one is like. So this is the first one, number 1, the True Neutrals palette. And this is what it looks like inside, and it's got a decent mirror on the front. And then when you flip it around, you can see the indents where they snap into each other, and you can see the color shades as well as the names. So this first one is called Nookie Rookie. This is just a matte, plain kind of beigey ivory shade. This one is called Simmer Down. This is a metallic pinkish ivory shade. I'm using it on my brow bone, even though it's a little bit too dark to use on my brow bone, but great to use as an everyday sort of lid shade. This one is called Tequila Night. This one is definitely one of the better performing metallic shades. It's a gorgeous kind of rich bronze shade, excellent pigmentation and blendability. This one here is called Velvet Cuffs. This one is another excellent performing metallic shade. It's like a champagne gold sort of colour. Beautiful and shimmery. Again, great to wear for everyday lid colours. This one is called Come and Get It. This one is a matte shade, a very classic toned, mid-toned, warm brown. And it performs okay, but can you see the way that it kind of just gets patchy towards the end? This is what I mean when I say the matte shades do not perform that well. And this one is called Affogato. And this one is a matte, dark, kind of neutral toned ash brown shade. Again, I found this one slightly difficult to blend. So this is all of the ones from the #1 True Neutrals palette. I just want to explain to you guys quickly. Look how easily they come off. Now with other eyeshadows, I normally have to use wet wipes or something to remove them. The matte shades went first. Do you see what I mean when I say they are so easy to just come off? They just blend into almost nothing. Okay, so this is #4, the Rose palette. This first shade here is called Sleepover. This is a pale neutral toned pink shade. It won't really show up much on my skin tone, unfortunately. This one is called Lil Miss. This is a bright hot pink matte shade, and you can see patchy and it will stain as well. This one is called Stunt Queen. This one is a pretty kind of pinky raspberry cranberry sort of metallic shade. Nice enough colour. The quality isn't that great though. It's one of those ones that once you start to blend it out, it will sheer out too much and interfere with the colour. This one is called Sugar Shock. It's a very pretty metallic shimmery pink shade. These kind of shades normally look really nice against my skin tone, but I just don't feel it has enough of an oomph for it to show up as metallic as it could do. This shade is called Spice Trap. This is another matte shade. This is the one that I mentioned that I really struggled to blend out with a blending brush. It's a purpley brown shade, and the colour is gorgeous. It's just too patchy and too difficult to blend out properly. This one is called Diva Fever. This is one of the few which have got a glittery metallic finish. It's pretty, but unfortunately you are going to only be able to apply this with your finger, because I've noticed the difference between brush and finger. Brush means a lot of the glitter transfers into different places, can get very messy. You get a lot more of an intense payoff if you use your finger. So the next palette is #5 Peach. First shade is called Bellini Baby. Absolutely beautiful metallic shade. This is duochrome. You can see a mixture of gold, peach, and a little bit of orange. This next shade is called Shiro. This is like a bright tangerine orange metallic shade. It's quite thick when you apply it, and I wouldn't say that it's got enough shimmer. If you look at it compared to the one before, it's just not as metallic as you would like. This shade is called High Pumpkin. This one is a really pretty rusty kind of coppery shade, really pretty and intense in colour. This shade is called Peach Me. It is a pale peach matte shade. Unfortunately, I did have to layer it about 3 times for it to show up against my skin tone. This one here is called Barham. Now this is another matte shade and a little bit deeper than the previous one, so it shows up a lot better on my skin tone. This is probably my favourite shade in the whole palette. And this last shade is called Shoot Your Shot. And this one is another really pretty matte shade, really nicely performs in terms of pigmentation, and it is a bright orange shade but a lot more wearable. So this is the final palette, #8, which is called Pastel Frost. I've actually swatched all of them already on my hand. I forgot to press record. I do that sometimes. So let's just go through each one by one. So we're going to start off with this one here, which is called Mother's Boy. We all know one of those. And Mother's Boy, unsurprisingly, is the worst performing one out of all. I'm sure you can see that. It barely shows up against my skin tone. The swatch is poor, and I'm not that impressed. The one next to it here, which is called Moulala, is a gorgeous bright spring green colour. Excellent quality and pigmentation. The one next to it, which is the one that I'm wearing on my tear duct, is called Laid Up. It's a gorgeous yellow gold shade, really nicely pigmented. The one next to it here is called Ice Cream Kisses. Now this one is very pretty as well and very pigmented. The one next to it is the one I'm wearing on my lid, which is called Lady Pimp. Now the swatch doesn't look too bad, but the difference with using a brush and a finger swatch is very, very obvious. Then the last one on the end here, which is called Dirty Denim, is very, very chunky. You can see that it's a very thick kind of colour that's shown up, which is great, but you're going to get a lot of fallout, so be careful when applying it to your face. I mean, honest to God, look how easily they rub off. So all the shimmery shades, right? That was kind of easy. Like what? It's just... Sorry, Fenty, but I'm just not that impressed enough to give you anything higher than a 7 out of 10, I'm afraid. It's just... They're okay, but they're not great. They're so much better on the market. I can recommend something good by Fenty, though. The lipstick I'm wearing right now is Fenty's Uncuffed, one of their lip paints. I love their lip paints, by the way. I just don't really like their eyeshadows that much. I really wish that they would maybe invest or look into changing the quality. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm sure some of you have already tried these, played with them in store, or you're kind of umming and ahhing about whether or not you're going to get them. Let me know what your thoughts are below. Other than that, I hope you guys are wonderful and great, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.